On behalf of the Sisters of St. Francis, the staff and volunteers of the Franciscan Mission Warehouse, I am honored and humbled to receive the prestigious International Community of Christ Peace Award, and I thank them for it. The Franciscan Mission Warehouse is a ministry of the Sisters of St. Francis of the Holy Eucharist, a Catholic order of 13 religious sisters located here in Independence, Missouri. As I reflected on the most important ideas and message I wanted to share with you this evening, 3 key ideas kept coming up. And they are: be open to God's call, trust and have faith, and ask others to join you in good works. These principles have guided my life and the work of the Franciscan Mission Warehouse. But first, a bit of history and how it all came about. In 1995, after spending 17 and a half years as a missionary in Rodriguez Alves, a small town 1,000 miles down the Amazon River, I returned home to the United States, but with a request from the people I had served. Please send Pepto-Bismol for the stomach ailments that plague us. After a few phone calls and perseverance, I was able to not only secure 2 pallets of the much-needed Pepto-Bismol, but also received enough donations to fill a 20-foot container of household goods, clothing, food, and school supplies. Daily necessities that were difficult to find and very expensive in that part of the world. But we were off and running and decided that sending 1 20-foot container per year would be our goal for the coming year. However, God had bigger plans, and within 5 years, there were enough supplies given to us that 22 of these containers were sent to this remote location in Brazil. Donations were coming in at a rate we did not expect. We were collecting things in the basements of the buildings on our campus, sorting and packing them, and storing them in a warehouse in Kansas City until ready to send the containers. But soon warehouse space became a problem. With a large donation and a leap of faith, a 9,000 square foot warehouse was built and dedicated in June 2000 to provide enough room for the next 8 containers to be sent down to the former mission in Brazil. Finally, everything was under one roof, and we had gotten our second wind. When the first 4 of these containers were sent in December 2000, we were unaware that custom regulations had changed. Because of the nearly impossible requirements, the local Brazilian bishop asked us to refrain from sending more containers. And reality set in. The warehouse was full of supplies, and the very reason for having it built had just disappeared. What I thought was the direction that God was leading us in had just vanished. Now what? In a moment of doubt and anxiety, looking around the warehouse and observing the supplies that were arriving daily and not knowing who would receive them, I said a big, heartfelt prayer for guidance. Lord, where are you? What is happening? I don't know where you want these supplies to go. But I do realize that you know who needs them. Just let me and us know the places. Give us the physical strength to do the work. Find us additional volunteers and the necessary funds, and we will do your work. Within a month, without any extraordinary effort on our part, requests started coming in from around the world. And soon we were sending supplies to El Salvador, Malawi, the Dominican Republic, Peru, and Ecuador. Through the inner turmoil, God was telling me to trust and have faith in His plans and His timing. The windows of Brazil had closed, but the doors of the world were opened. Today, we operate a fully functional warehouse and have completed over 300 shipments of medical supplies and equipment, school and household supplies to over 31 countries around the world, and stateside aid as well. Thousands upon thousands of individuals have been helped, have received medical care and education, felt hope, and given a chance for a better life. And as examples, a building in the Gambia was empty. 3 children signed up for daycare. Today, 222 children are receiving an education in that building. A nurse in Nairobi started using a part of her house to care for the sick. Today, she has a maternity hospital and delivers about 30 babies a month. These good news stories would not be possible without God's grace and the many donations we've received and in turn have given to those in need. And the third principle of asking others to help in good works. Hundreds of individuals have volunteered thousands of hours to our ministry. Many have come for a one-time session and suddenly have found that their lives now have new meaning. Their simple tasks of sorting and packing supplies isn't a job. It's a sharing and understanding of the needs of others. That simple blanket will provide warmth and comfort to children sleeping on rough wooden floors. And lives are being saved with medical supplies and equipment. Healing and peace are mending broken lives here as well. The volunteers no longer feel alone, but now have someone who will be with them as the joys and sorrows of life are shared. But make no mistake, my story is not unique. I am just a simple farm girl who grew up in what today would be called a poverty-level home. This mission ministry was most certainly not the path I was taking. I was going to be a lifetime teacher. But the grace and direction of God's plans have been manifested in all of these events. And to now you, each one of you, from every walk of life, from all corners of the world, you can do it too. And how, you may ask? By embracing the 3 principles mentioned at the beginning. First, be open to God's call. God doesn't call those who have all the answers by themselves. He calls those who know they don't have the answers and so need his help. And the scriptures are full of such examples. We have Moses and Hosea and David and Peter and Paul and those missionaries throughout the ages. Second, when the times get difficult, remain faithful and trust. Step into the unknown. If it is God-directed, he will give the means. Many times in my journey, things have been tough and uncertain. I felt unprepared and unsure. But being open and faithful has led me here to you tonight. And third, don't hesitate to ask those around you to join you in your mission. Many times they only need to be asked and will be your fellow workers. Together, you will change the world. And the story of the Franciscan Mission Warehouse and the thousands it has helped can happen anywhere in the world, if and when we are open to God's call. All of us can be instruments of hope and peace in our own lives, in our families, our neighborhoods, our communities, and our countries. One by one, step by step. This is how the world is changed. And God continues to bless the Franciscan Mission Warehouse, and the future is bright. We have recently affiliated with Project CURE, the largest provider of donated medical equipment and supplies to developing countries around the world. Project CURE brings size, stability, and expertise to the partnership and will help sustain us in the future. This partnership allows for many, many more people around the world to be served. And in closing, I'd like to do a quick backtrack to the mission in Brazil. We had received a gift of a handmade stained glass window from Germany. Before being installed, the section that portrayed the world in blue had a giant crack down the middle. It could still be used and was installed with the crack. Each time we prayed in that chapel, we were praying for our broken world. And I feel that our ministry and shipments to those most in need are continuing to help mend the many cracks in our world. And so I urge you, take our story of faith and trust and use it as an inspiration to create your own story. And join us by mending the cracks in your own corner of the world. And if we could just join hands across the assembly and may we receive God's blessings of peace, joy, and hope from one another, and then return home to share these gifts. Thank you, and God bless.